Migraines and headaches are seriously one of the lamest things you can possibly encounter. Nothing puts a damper on a perfectly good day like being crushed by a headache. So in this video, I want to break down some of the science that I've looked into regarding two different things that you can combine to actually start taking back control of your headaches and getting back on track with your life. But before I explain those, I want to explain the science of a headache and the science of a migraine. But even before that, a little bit of alarming news. I don't know if you know this, but over half of the people that suffer from headaches and migraines end up taking narcotics. And a vast majority of those narcotic users end up using barbiturates. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but those are extremely toxic to the body. And they're no way to handle just a very simple migraine that, quite honestly, is, as far as neuroinflammation goes and physiology goes, quite simple to handle. Now, here's what we also have to know. Those that don't end up taking narcotics end up taking acetaminophen, which is quite honestly one of the most hepatotoxic things that you can take over the counter. And those that don't take acetaminophen usually take ibuprofen. And if you've seen my other videos, you know that that is a cyclooxygenase 1 inhibitor, which means that it can really do some damage to your intestinal tract and to your stomach lining. So we typically want to avoid that as well. But let's dive into what causes a headache. Now, here's what we have to know. A headache and a migraine are not one and the same. You see, a headache can be caused by stress, it can be caused by overexertion, it can be caused by sleep, it can be caused by dehydration, so many different things. And that can be just a multitude of different instances and symptoms. But a migraine is something different. You see, a migraine is a neuroinflammatory issue, which means that you're having inflammation happening in your brain. You're having inflammation that is triggering nerves to respond a certain way. It's causing what is called a nociceptive response. Now, what we have to look at as well is what causes this inflammation in the first place. Well, a lot of studies have shown that migraines, by and large, are caused by a specific kind of inflammatory biomarker known as tumor necrosis factor alpha, also known as TNF-A or TNF-alpha. Now, TNF-alpha is really one of the master inflammatory compounds within the body. So what exactly is this inflammation doing, and how is this tumor necrosis factor alpha really playing a part? Well, you see, when we have the inflammation from the TNF-alpha, it ends up triggering our nerves to cause a pain response. We have these things on our neurons called nociceptors. What a nociceptor is a small piece at the end of the axon of a neuron that distributes pain signals whenever there's a damaging stimulus. So, example, if you were to get burned or something like that, the nociceptor would trigger pain. Well, inflammation from tumor necrosis factor alpha triggers this same response in your head. So it's inflammation that's causing the brain pain, so to speak. So how do we start combating this? Well, we need to have something that has nociceptive properties, pain relieving properties to get rid of the pain, but then we need to start addressing the problem furthermore. You see, things like acetaminophen, things like ibuprofen, they can dull the pain, they can help you there, but they're not going to solve the actual issue at its root. So that's where a couple of different things come in. In this video, I want to address turmeric and I want to address omega-3s because they both have different compounds within them that will help the situation. See, turmeric's been used for thousands of years to help with pain, but when it comes down to migraines, it's a whole different story. You see, it's not just the anti-inflammatory benefits of turmeric that affect us there, it's the neuroprotective and also the nociceptive properties. So we have pain relieving properties that are associated with turmeric, and we also have the anti-inflammatory properties, and then we have the protective properties which can prevent migraines from coming on in the future. Now, omega-3s, on the other hand, do something different. Omega-3s have high levels of docosahexaenoic acid, which you've probably seen from my other videos, can get into the brain, cross through the blood-brain barrier, and feed the brain healthy fats. Well, those healthy fats are going to modulate inflammation inside the brain. So again, we have an anti-inflammatory and a neuroprotective component that's coming in with omega-3s. So when you combine them, you really have some amazing stuff going on. And that's where I want to talk about a specific study that was done really recently in 2017. So this 2017 study that was published in Immunogenics took a look at episodic migraine sufferers. Okay, we had 74 of them. And what this research was truly looking at was what kind of result could these patients see if they use different combinations of turmeric with omegas, or possibly even a placebo. And what they were truly measuring was the level of tumor necrosis factor alpha, since we know there's a direct correlation with TNF and migraines. But what they did is they split these participants into 4 groups. One group they gave only curcumin to, another group they gave only omega-3s to, another group they gave turmeric or curcumin plus omega-3s, and the last group they gave a placebo to. They measured their TNF alpha levels at the beginning of the study and then again at the end. And what they found was really surprising. What they found is that the omega group and the curcumin only group saw no change. The placebo group saw no change. But when you combined curcumin with omegas, there was a huge change in TNF alpha. showing that turmeric or curcumin plus omegas really is a magical cocktail when it comes specifically to migraines. Now, this doesn't mean that turmeric as a whole isn't going to work for you, but what's happening is the omega-3s are binding with the turmeric because turmeric needs to be utilized with fat, which is why PuraTHRIVE uses a liposomal form, which works so well. But additionally, the omega-3s can cross through the blood-brain barrier and reduce inflammation in the brain. You have a double whammy of brain inflammation reduction. And that's exactly why curcumin gold leverages the power of omegas, curcumin, but then the additional benefit of ginger to aid in absorption and digestion. So I highly recommend if you're someone that's dealing with migraines or headaches, that you combine the power of omegas and curcumin and don't just trust what's out there, trust what the science is truly saying. So if you click on the link, you can learn a little bit more about how curcumin gold can make a huge, huge change to your life and make you get on the path to being the best you that's not having a headache stand in your way. I'll see you on the next page.